The human blinked against the fluorescent glow of the arena, his throat dry and mind racing, wondering why exactly he had been dragged into a situation that resembled a cosmic reality show designed by sadistic engineers with a sense of humor sharper than a plasma knife. Around him, creatures of impossible shapes and sizes filled the stands, chattering in languages that rattled like broken starship engines, their eyes reflecting the neon chaos below. One alien with 3 segmented heads leaned so far forward that it toppled over mid-cheer, and instead of helping, the others laughed, making it clear that empathy was in short supply here. The arena itself seemed to breathe, panels shifting, lights pulsing, mechanical arms flailing in what appeared to be random gestures, though the human suspected some sort of cruel choreography. He noticed her first while trying not to trip over a loose panel that someone, or maybe something, had carelessly left sticking out of the floor. She was taller than most humans, almost eerily so, and she looked human at first glance. The shape, the posture, even the subtle curve of her smile, but then the ears caught him off guard. They were long, elegant, tapered like a painter's brushstroke, twitching with every flicker of the arena's lights. The twitch was subtle, almost graceful, and it made her appear perpetually alert, as if she could hear every heartbeat in the room. And maybe she could. She leaned against the railing of one of the floating platforms above, smirking, arms crossed as though amused by the absurdity of it all. When her eyes met his, the human felt a chill mixed with a strange sense of camaraderie, though she had no obligation to care. The announcer's voice blared through the cavernous space, a distorted resonance that rattled the human's teeth. "Welcome, puny Terran, you may call him whatever you wish, but he will not survive the trials. Place your bets, beings of sophistication." It sounded almost formal until the words puny Terran echoed, and the human resisted the urge to respond, imagining all the sarcastic comebacks that would get him torn apart, or worse, laughed at in public humiliation. The audience erupted in alien laughter that resembled wind chimes caught in a hurricane. Somewhere, a being that looked like a cube with tentacles was high-fiving itself while balancing on what might have been a hoverboard. The first trap activated before the human could get his bearings. A panel of floor opened beneath him, revealing a pit filled with what he would later learn were bioluminescent worms capable of producing electrical shocks. He stumbled, catching himself on a support beam while muttering, "Great first day, and already they want to fry me like a cheap snack." The aliens cheered, some slapping what passed for their knees, clearly betting on his imminent demise. A small robotic drone zipped past, dropping confetti in celebration of his apparent failure. The human ducked, rolled, and somehow landed on a moving platform without being fried, shaking his head and whispering, "Of course. It's like a circus designed by psychopaths." She appeared then out of nowhere at his side on the same platform. "You might survive longer if you stopped talking to yourself," she said, her voice light but carrying an edge like a scalpel hidden in velvet. Her ears twitched as she spoke, and he realized she wasn't just teasing. She could detect his heartbeat, his micro-movements, maybe even his panic. "But it's entertaining, I'll give you that." He stared at her, trying to gauge whether her humor was a test or genuine amusement. Either way, it was better than the relentless mocking from the arena. The next series of hazards came in rapid succession. Lasers that painted the walls in terrifying patterns, a mechanical swarm that resembled oversized dragonflies, and platforms that moved in unpredictable mocking sequences. The human leapt, slid, and even executed an improvised somersault that he would later describe as accidentally graceful. Each time he survived, the audience's bets shifted in real time, displayed in holograms above the pit, numbers flashing like the stock market during a meltdown. One alien shouted in their tongue, pointing at him while their third head gawked. "He's cheating, he can't possibly be alive." The human muttered, "Nope, just really lucky," and sarcastic, earning a soft snort from the long-eared woman. Between traps, he noticed the absurdities of the arena. A snack dispenser malfunctioned, shooting out cubes of what smelled like fermented space kelp. A creature in the audience tried to catch one with its claw, only to have it explode into a glowing mist, coating it in sticky goo. He had to laugh, which was dangerous because laughter was the wrong signal in this place. It was either defiance or madness, he wasn't sure which. She laughed too lightly, her long ears twitching as if sharing the joke across some invisible wavelength. By the time he reached the central chamber, the human was panting but alive, heart hammering in rhythm with the arena's pulsing lights. A new voice crackled through the speakers. "You have survived thus far, but the fun has only begun." Panels shifted violently, and a floor section rose to reveal a pit that wasn't empty. Dozens of mechanized birds with razor feathers descended, their wings humming like tiny starship engines. The human ducked, rolled, and kicked one into the pit. "You'd think I trained for this, nope, just dumb luck and improvisation." His quip earned a genuine laugh from the long-eared woman who materialized behind a console and leaned over to whisper, "You have a weird talent for surviving. Maybe I should help you." Help, that word was dangerous yet tantalizing. He considered her offer, weighing the odds. Could he trust someone whose species wagered on his death for entertainment? The humor of the moment didn't escape him. Here he was, a human fighting for his life in a galactic slaughterhouse, exchanging jokes with a potentially deadly alien woman with ears that could probably hear a heartbeat across a room. "I don't know if I can trust you," he said, trying to sound casual, "but I'll take help over death any day." She smirked, ears twitching as though she found his human stubbornness endearing, or perhaps merely funny. "Good. Then let's see if we can make them regret underestimating you and me. Mostly you, though. It would be dull if I did all the work." As they moved forward together, dodging yet another hailstorm of mechanical hazards and absurdly timed laser grids, the human realized something remarkable. Despite the mortal danger, despite the aliens' sadistic betting, there was a rhythm to surviving here. Humor, improvisation, and quick thinking could be weapons as potent as any blaster. And with her at his side, those long ears twitching in silent calculation, maybe, just maybe, he had a chance. The arena's lights pulsed in anticipation, and the human whispered under his breath, "Let's turn this nightmare into a show they'll never forget." She glanced at him, raised an eyebrow, and muttered, "I like your style, Terran, just don't die before I get bored." They exchanged a brief, conspiratorial smile as the next trap sprang to life, a pit of bouncing, electrified orbs that rolled like mischievous planets. The human groaned, really, already with the planetary-themed death traps. She laughed, a sound like wind rustling through alien leaves. And just like that, they dove in together, improvising, laughing, surviving, and beginning to turn the tables on a galaxy that had assumed his death was inevitable. The human and the long-eared alien woman crouched behind a shifting barricade of hovering panels, listening to the arena hum with anticipation, the air thick with ozone and the faint scent of something that might have once been food but had clearly evolved into a weaponized aroma. He was panting, adrenaline still tingling in his veins, but a grin crept across his face as he realized he was alive. And even worse, he was beginning to enjoy the absurdity of surviving a death game while exchanging sarcastic quips with a near stranger whose ears were somehow more expressive than most humans' faces. "So we're allies now, I guess?" he asked, trying to sound casual while his heart beat like a percussion section gone rogue. She tilted her head, ears twitching, and a smirk spread across her face. "For now," she said, voice smooth, almost melodic, "but don't get comfortable. Comfort is overrated. And in this place, amusing your enemies can be just as effective as stabbing them with a laser blade." She gestured toward a hovering console, her fingers moving in a blur, reprogramming the controls so that the next trap, an entire corridor of retractable spikes, would misfire in a spectacularly comedic fashion. The human watched, impressed and slightly terrified. "You just turned a death corridor into a dance floor?" he asked. She shrugged, a perfect imitation of a human gesture, and quipped, "Yes, with optional spikes for flair." What? They moved cautiously forward, the arena seeming almost alive with anticipation. Mechanical drones zipped past them, some carrying trays of electrified snacks, others projecting holographic distractions to keep the human's mind off his survival strategy. The human couldn't resist making a joke. "I feel like a contestant in a culinary horror show," he muttered. The long-eared woman laughed, her ears flicking like twin antennae picking up on invisible signals. "If they had a prize for best sense of humor while near death, you'd win. Easily." The human realized that surviving wasn't just about dodging traps, it was about manipulating the aliens' expectations. Every time he acted terrified, he gained information. Every time he acted nonchalant, he caused confusion. She noticed this too, nodding approvingly as they navigated a room where gravity shifted in unpredictable arcs, forcing them to leap from wall to ceiling in a pattern that looked insane to anyone watching. "You know," she said, twirling midair, "it's impressive how quickly you adapt to physics that hate you. Most would be screaming, flailing, and inspiring bets on their imminent demise." What? A holographic scoreboard flickered above them, showing the absurd wagers of the alien audience. Some had bet on whether he would accidentally kick his own feet into spikes, others on whether he would trip over the long-eared woman's presence, because apparently his ally was just as entertaining as his survival. The human whispered, "They're betting on me failing at dancing." She smirked. "They underestimate the Terran's uncanny ability to trip with style." The arena threw increasingly bizarre hazards at them. Sentient vines that attempted to tie their limbs together while muttering insults in binary code, robotic scorpions that rolled along magnetic tracks like tiny, deadly bumper cars, and holographic projections of the human himself taunting him with sarcastic commentary. He ducked, twisted, and used the projections as cover, earning a soft laugh from the long-eared woman. Look at you, using their own illusions as props. Impressive or reckless, possibly both, I approve. What? Between traps, they plotted minor sabotages, exploiting small technical quirks in the arena. A drink dispenser above the audience they noticed could be tipped over to soak the front rows, causing chaos among betting aliens. They activated it with a well-timed kick, and the human had to bite his lip to keep from laughing out loud as a trio of tentacled gamblers slipped and flailed in the synthetic sludge. Victory through hygiene sabotage, he said, trying not to sound too proud. She rolled her eyes, ears flicking. Your tactics are unconventional but amusing, and that is half the battle here. What? The more they collaborated, the more the human realized her humor wasn't just for amusement, it was a weapon, a psychological tool to destabilize both him and their enemies. She teased, ribbed, and joked while simultaneously giving him crucial advice. Watch the panels, they like to move when you're not paying attention, or maybe they just enjoy irony. Her voice carried a rhythm, a cadence that made danger feel like a puzzle with punchlines hidden in the instructions. You humans think linearly, she continued, but in a place like this, chaos is your friend. And sarcasm is your shield. At one point, they encountered a trap that was nothing but a massive, rotating maze of mirrors, designed to disorient and confuse. Reflections of themselves and impossible angles created optical illusions that would have driven most contestants insane. The human tripped once, stumbled into a mirror, and ended up sliding across the floor, crashing into a panel that triggered a geyser of glittering plasma, narrowly avoiding electrocution. Well, he said, coughing through sparks, at least it's colorful. She laughed so hard that her ears twitched violently, catching reflections from multiple angles. You really have a talent for surviving slapstick death traps. Truly, you could star in an intergalactic sitcom. Despite the comedy, danger was constant. They learned to anticipate the arena's rhythm, the pulse of lights, the sound of mechanical joints, the faint hum that indicated which floor tiles were unstable. Each time they avoided a trap, the human gained a growing sense of confidence. And yet, he never let his guard down entirely, knowing that a single misstep could turn the humor into tragedy. She observed this, her smirk softening into something like admiration, her long ears flicking with careful attention. You have grit, she noted, and an unhealthy sense of humor, both necessary traits for survival here. What? As they advanced, they began planting seeds of confusion among the audience, small manipulations that caused bets to backfire in spectacular ways. Holographic displays flickered, bets shifted unpredictably, and audience members began to argue with one another mid-cheer. They are panicking, the human whispered, grinning. I think our slapstick approach is working. She tilted her head, ears twitching. It's not just working, it's art. The humans are clever when they embrace chaos. What? By the time they reached a central observation hub, the human realized their partnership had grown into something unexpectedly reliable. He no longer saw her as merely an ally, but as a co-conspirator in a game that could end with him dead or the arena in ruins. The long-eared woman looked over the balcony, her expression teasing yet calculating. We have a window, she said, a perfect opportunity to turn their arrogance into entertainment and maybe payback. What? The human nodded, feeling a thrill he had never known, a mix of danger and exhilaration, humor and strategy. Let's do it, he said, and she flicked her ears in agreement. Together, they would exploit the arena's absurdities, turning deadly games into chaotic comedy, their partnership a blend of wits, daring, and carefully timed sarcasm. They moved forward, ready to escalate their subtle sabotage into something far more consequential. Somewhere in the audience, bets continued to shift frantically, but now, the human and the long-eared alien woman were no longer just players, they were orchestrators of their own rules, and the chaos had only just begun. The human and the long-eared alien woman crouched behind a console, the arena around them alive with chaotic energy. Sparks danced across broken panels, and holographic screens flickered wildly, displaying the bets of panicked aliens whose confidence had evaporated faster than a supernova mist. He grinned, wiping a smear of what might have been sludge from his cheek, and whispered, I think we broke them, or at least scared them enough to reconsider life choices. She laughed softly, ears flicking in a way that seemed almost conspiratorial, and said, Scared them? Taryn, we've traumatized them for entertainment value. They'll never gamble like this again. The plan was simple yet audacious. Every trap, every hazard, every absurdly over-engineered death contraption they had survived so far would now become a tool for turning the hunters into the hunted. The human moved first, running toward a series of hovering platforms that formed the arena's main corridor. He kicked at a console, redirecting a stream of plasma into the path of the audience seating, sending a cascade of sparks and holographic projectiles into their viewing area. Aliens flailed, floating chairs tipped, and the audience's nervous bets flashed and corrected themselves chaotically, creating a surreal game of interstellar musical chairs. "Are we sure this won't get us fried?" he asked as he ducked a swinging energy whip. "We're not going for subtlety," she replied, flicking her ears and tapping the same console to activate an override. "Subtlety is for boring people, and I don't like boring." What? The first wave of chaos sent the spectators scrambling. Some tried to flee, only to find themselves caught in their own mechanical traps, conveyor belts slamming them into padded walls with a soft, comedic thunk that was almost theatrical. Others collided with malfunctioning drones, which swooped down like electrified hawks, zapping anything that moved too confidently. The human ducked behind a shifting panel, rolling out and landing on a moving platform that shot him upward, narrowly missing a trapdoor filled with retractable spikes. "I swear these beings have the worst safety regulations in the galaxy," he muttered. She appeared at his side, grinning, tapping into the arena's control grid with a flourish of digits. "You underestimate how satisfying it is to see arrogance implode," she said. "It's almost poetic." Her fingers danced across holographic controls, redirecting the energy flow from the arena's lighting system into the main audience platforms. Sparks erupted harmlessly, mostly but enough to startle and humiliate those who had thought themselves untouchable. The human laughed, dodging a flying soda can turn projectile. Poetry and slapstick, a dangerous combination. Together, they orchestrated the chaos. He activated the gravity-altering tiles to make the spectators bounce unpredictably, while she redirected mechanical sentries to block exits. Holographic projections of the human himself appeared midair, running in impossible acrobatics that mirrored his real movements, confusing the betting audience even more. One alien tried to grab a hologram, stumbled, and ended up wrapped in a loose cable, spinning helplessly as their own bets pinged across the arena in humiliating detail. "Are you seeing this?" the human shouted, laughing as he ducked a floating plasma sphere. "We've become the universe's worst nightmare, a sarcastic human and a long-eared saboteur." "Exclamation points are unnecessary in emergencies," she replied dryly, but her ears twitched with amusement. "But yes, it is going well." As they advanced toward the central hub, the arena's overseers scrambled, their sophistication no match for improvised human ingenuity combined with insider knowledge. The human, once terrified and reactive, now moved with confidence, reading the hazards, anticipating glitches, and improvising solutions faster than the arena could throw them. He had become more than a survivor. He was a tactician, an orchestrator of chaos. The journey had honed his courage and sharpened his wit. He quipped even mid-leap, "I can't believe I'm enjoying this. I used to complain about my commute." What? The long-eared woman followed, still teasing, still calculating. She helped him exploit one final, massive system, the arena's main betting grid, which displayed not just wagers but secret personal details of the alien spectators. Together, they rerouted it, exposing embarrassing secrets to the entire audience. A trio of multi-headed gamblers shrieked as their personal scores and ancient family scandals flashed in neon lights. Another attempted to sabotage the grid, only to trigger an array of harmless, yet humiliating, explosions of confetti and smoke. The human could barely contain his laughter. It's like high school reunion meets galactic warfare. What? At last, they reached the arena's exit, but not before the overseers attempted a last-ditch attack, a rotating blade array descending from above, humming like a predatory insect. The human grabbed a stray plasma rod and ricocheted it, hitting a control panel that sent the blade spinning harmlessly upward, a combination of timing, luck, and improvisation that felt absurdly theatrical. She clapped lightly, ears flicking with satisfaction. "Well done, Terran, you may actually survive this." The aftermath was almost anticlimactic. The arena, once a symbol of fear and cruelty, lay in semi-ruin. Sparks, flickering lights, and scattered debris marked the path of their ascent. The spectators were stunned, some fleeing, some too embarrassed to move, realizing the cruelty they had paid for had turned spectacularly against them. The human, catching his breath, looked over the chaotic scene and laughed. "I think I just broke the galaxy's favorite pastime." She stood beside him, hands on her hips, ears twitching in the fading glow of the arena. "You did more than survive," she said. "You made them reconsider the value of arrogance, cruelty, and bad betting habits, and you did it with humor and tact." He smiled, realizing that surviving this ordeal had changed him. Fear no longer ruled his decisions. Creativity, audacity, and a sense of humor now guided him. He had grown, not just in skill, but in confidence and perspective, recognizing that intelligence and wit could tilt even the most oppressive odds. As they stepped onto a maintenance shuttle to leave the wreckage behind, the human glanced at his companion. So, what now? You have plans to rebuild the arena, or are we leaving the chaos behind? She smirked, ears twitching in the light. Chaos left behind is always the most satisfying kind, and as for plans, let's just say there are other arenas, other fools, and other bets. But for now, let's enjoy the fact that we won, spectacularly and with style. What? He laughed, feeling a rare sense of relief and triumph. The journey had begun with terror and humiliation, but it ended with strategy, partnership, and a shared sense of victory that neither the human nor the long-eared alien woman would forget. They had turned death games into an absurd, victorious performance, leaving a trail of shattered bets, broken egos, and cosmic laughter in their wake. And as the shuttle propelled them away from the ruined arena, the human realized something profound. He was no longer just a participant in a game he didn't understand. He was a force to be reckoned with, capable of wit, courage, and cunning in the face of unimaginable odds. And somewhere amidst the ruined circuits and shocked spectators, the galaxy would